Braheska might be the luckiest man in Muscoda. You can see this tree here in his front yard. It fell forward. If it had fallen backward, it would have landed on his front door. Next door, things are a lot worse. You can just take a look at all of this damage. A hot air balloon ended up landing right here at this intersection of Old Fox Run and Arrowhead Trail. According to witnesses, just moments later, at least 6 Dane County squads showed up. When it was all over, Michael came to. Weak and groggy, he had a newfound appreciation for his friends and family. He also claims he had no addiction. Inside the Capitol, there wasn't a lot of news today, but outside the Capitol, the message was, this isn't about money, it's about collective bargaining. Lee, you always hear that it's not the heat, but it's the humidity. In this situation, it isn't the heat, it's actually the dry conditions that has some landscapers in our area kind of concerned right now. Just take a look around me. Everything that you see is pretty much yellow. McQueen says she was coming around the corner when she looked up the block and saw a large crowd gathering in front of Segredo's and Johnny O's, but she didn't find that unusual. According to everyone I spoke with who knew Daniel Wise, a Madison native, nothing was wrong with him. He was going to Madison College and looking forward to transferring to the UW.
Well, you may have noticed some of your co-workers, neighbors, maybe even your TV news anchors wearing orange today, and there's a very good reason for it. NBC 15's Barclay Pollak is here now to explain.
Getting a little frisky there, John. Keep it on, sir. A lot of those same people that I spoke to said after listening to his speech today, listening to some of the ideals he professed, and just seeing that he was more emotional today than he was in last night's debate in Denver, that they have now decided who they're going to vote for. Reporting live in Madison, I'm Barclay Pollak, NBC 15 News. Earlier this year, I introduced you to 2 men who claim they took Ibogaine and almost overnight were cured. Now we follow a Dane County man as he attempts to do the same.
I would get so high, I would literally be, borderline alive or dead. So I've nodded off, and it's been 8 or 16 hours. I've lost days.
Michael Park's love affair with drugs and alcohol started at a young age.
I liked it. It was kind of a relaxation. It was an escape.
A few years later, he dislocated his hip in a car accident and was prescribed pain pills.
There was an instant attraction with that.
This started the 30-year-old's opiate addiction. At first, he only used on the weekends, but weekends turned into weekdays. And soon, Michael couldn't afford his addiction. How much of your income were you spending on prescription pain pills?
Realistically, probably 60% to 120%.
With his pain pill addiction spiraling out of control, Michael turned to heroin.
Instantly, it was stronger. You could get high 5 times for the same price you'd spend on a pill.
Cheaper and more potent, Michael's heroin addiction was born. How frequently were you using heroin?
Daily.
Daily.
I don't think there's any other way to use it. In a short time frame, you're going to go from once in a while to daily.
Michael was shooting up 10 times a day. The video you're looking at was captured by his brother while Michael was high. He lost his job and sold most of his belongings for far less than they were worth, all to feed his habit. When he didn't have anything left to sell, he wrote bad checks. Eventually, he got in trouble with the law, and nearly all of his relationships deteriorated.
It's really taken a toll on our whole family.
One relationship has stayed relatively intact. Michael's mother, Lisa, has been with him every step of the way through all 7 of his attempts to get clean and his 3 overdoses.
It's scary because when he's out on the streets and we don't know where he's at, every time the phone rings, you think it's going to be an accident of some kind.
In October of 2011, Michael talked to his parents about Ibogaine. It comes from a plant in Africa, and according to advocates, it can cure opiate addiction overnight. Illegal in the United States, Michael would have to go to Mexico for treatment. At first, Lisa was skeptical, treating an illegal drug with another illegal drug. The price didn't sway her either. $10,000 for a 1-week stay at a clinic. But after another year of dealing with Michael's addiction, she feels they're out of options.
And he's at a point where he can't function. So if the Ibogaine doesn't work, I don't really know what my answer is going to be.
2 days after we spoke to Michael, he got on a plane and went to Baja, California, Mexico for treatment. Coming up tonight on NBC 15 News at 10, we'll hear from the man who has no medical background but claims he can heal people from the inside out. What's the highest level of education that you've obtained?
My freshman year in high school.
Then we'll visit with Michael after his return to see if he's really cured. Again, we'll have that coming up on NBC 15 News at 10.
NBC 15 News starts now.
A heroin cure now at 10. One man claims he's helped dozens kick their potentially deadly habits using another illegal drug. At 6, we told you about Michael Parks, a heroin addict from Cottage Grove who's trying to save his life.
In the last few years, Michael has been in and out of 7 rehab programs and overdosed 3 times. Now, Michael and his mother have turned to Ibogaine, a drug that comes from a plant in Africa, is illegal in the United States, but advocates claim can cure his addiction in a matter of hours.
New at 10, NBC 15's Barclay Pollak says there's a man who claims he can wipe out heroin addiction with a single pill. But the question is, will it cure Michael?
I don't want to just treat people. I'm not a drug dealer. People come in.
Johnny Tabai, a recovering addict, runs an Ibogaine clinic in Baja, California, Mexico. Tabai, fed up with Western medicine, received an Ibogaine treatment in 2007. Since then, he claims he's helped almost 80 people kick their addiction to heroin and other substances. He also claims to have an astonishing 90% success rate.
I really heal people here from the inside out.
We spoke to the 39-year-old Tabai via Skype while Michael was in his care. He says a 7 to 10 day stay at his clinic will run you about 10 grand. Longer stays are available but cost extra. A team of doctors and nurses look after his patients because Tabai has no medical experience. Do you have a doctorate?
No, I don't.
Do you have a bachelor's degree?
No, I don't.
Do you have a master's degree?
No, I don't.
Do you have a high school education?
No, I don't.
What's the highest level of education that you've obtained?
My freshman year in high school.
Once his doctors finish administering the Ibogaine treatment, they go to Tabai and he helps cleanse their body.
My job is, as a healer, is to teach people how to reconnect with their soul.
During the interview with Tabai, Michael was off camera, just a few feet away. I did not speak with him, but Tabai assured us his treatment worked, and it worked well.
It's unbelievable. It's absolutely magical. It's miraculous.
Are you cured?
Yes, I believe I am.
I met Michael at his home just a few days after he returned from his Ibogaine treatment. Because of his prior drug convictions, getting back into the U.S. was difficult. After a few days in a San Diego jail, a deal was struck and Michael came home.
I did receive instant relief.
Michael, clean for almost 2 weeks in this interview, says after just 15 minutes, he felt relief. However, his journey with Ibogaine was just getting started. Over the next several hours, Michael would drift in and out of consciousness and hallucinate.
The hallucination is pretty powerful. It's more like a dream that you can see in third person.
Michael claims he saw his addiction through the eyes of his friends and family. He now knew the pain that he'd caused. When it was all over, Michael came to. Weak and groggy, he had a newfound appreciation for his friends and family. He also claims he had no addiction. Are you acting? Are you trying to pull our leg? Are you
No.
joshing us?
Johnny's clinic is the real deal.
What did you think would come first, this or death?
Death. Most definitely. That's a horrible thing.
Lisa, Michael's mother, who'd taken out a second mortgage on her home for Michael's many treatments, believes he is cured. She says the sparkle in his eyes is back.
I never thought I'd see this day, that he would be healed.
More positive and with a better outlook, Michael spends his days eating right and doing something he seldom did in the past. Exercising. Now he feels like the sky's the limit, even though he doesn't believe everyone's sold on his transformation.
Everybody's nervous. Everybody's waiting because they've seen me go through traditional treatments and it works for a little while and it doesn't work.
You may be wondering how Michael is doing. According to the Wisconsin court system, Circuit Court Access, or CCAP, Michael was recently arrested. He's been charged with 1 count of possessing narcotic drugs, 2 counts of possessing drug paraphernalia and 2 counts of felony bail jumping. 13-year-old Javon Hawkins is just like other kids his age. He loves sports, like basketball. His favorite player is Dwayne Wade, and he hopes to one day play in the NFL. But before he can lay down to dream about scoring the game-winning touchdown or nailing that 3 at the buzzer, he has to first hook up to this dialysis machine.
I have a tube in me that like hooks up to the machine.
For more than 10 hours each night, Jovan is hooked up to this machine. And each hour, his father, Frank, wakes up and checks on his son.
I go for days without sleep just because I'm worried about his care.
But Jovan's care has cost Frank more than just sleep. Supplies for his dialysis treatment fill the family's closets, and medications pile up in their kitchen. Treatment for Jovan has just about left the family in financial ruin.
We've gotten behind, and it's been a struggle. You know, we have to rob Peter to pay Paul.
Frank says he fell behind on his electric bill, and running a dialysis machine overnight, every night, adds up. At one point, he was close to $1,500 behind. The family car sits idle in the driveway with 4 flat tires. And with winter coming, Frank is worried he won't have enough money to pay for heat. Frank says he even fell behind on the rent. Members of the community have been stepping up. Frank's landlord knocked $300 off of his rent, but that isn't enough, and more help is needed.
The little luxuries that most people have, we don't have.
Now, every day is a struggle, according to Frank, and his entire family is looking for help. Jovan is a member of the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County. That's how we caught wind of this story. If you'd like to help out or donate, you can contact them. We've posted that information on our web channel. Just head to NBC15.com and look under news links.